next segment of our show. Very interesting conversation, and we're in conversation with Tebogo Molefe, who is a founder and chief executive of Kagiso Home Buyers. And we're looking at particularly the challenges facing the township property industry, as well as the advice for first-time buyers for seeking to invest or purchase property in the townships. And I hope we're going to be we are going to dissect all the complexities that come with buying or considering buying or owning a home in township South Africa. Tebogo, good morning.
Good morning, Teresa. Thank you so much for having me here. Good
Thank
morning to
you.
everyone that's listening also.
Thank you for for joining us, and particularly coming into studio at this time of the morning. We absolutely appreciate it.
Thank you for having me here also.
Tebogo, I want us to start this. I understand property sharp.
Yes.
Your interest in township property in particular?
I grew up in Kagiso.
Okay.
Most of my life I was in Kagiso. So my aim getting into property was to actually improve some of the problems that I saw in Kagiso.
Okay.
And also to help those that want to improve the state of rentals and property in Kagiso. So I took it upon myself to actually start my journey exactly where I grew up. And in fact, I even called my first property company Kagiso Home Buyers, which was established in order to basically buy property and sell property in Kagiso.
So, when you say this, I can't help but think of certain complexities that happen. Not every person has a actual title deed.
Yeah,
surprised,
yeah.
by some of the complexities.
Hmm.
We have what we call family homes.
Yeah.
As well.
There's too many problems. There's a lot of problems. That which you just mentioned now is just one of them. But that's a big concern. I mean, especially with RDPs, like in some municipalities, they'll say you have to have 8 years of ownership before you sell the property.
You can sell an RDP home?
You can sell a property, an RDP property. I've actually made a couple of money, a little bit of money, selling RDP houses in Kagiso.
I mean, this makes
So
me
that's
take
why I
back
started, yeah.
This makes me take back what I've said before on show about. So I got upset that people, why are you selling RD? Or there are people who deliberately go and say no, go RDP, and I did not know that. Well, now and we live and we learn, right?
Yeah. Well, you can sell a property, an RDP property, and there's a lot of reasons. I mean, sometimes you find that this person had this RDP for a long time, and now the owner of the property passed on. No one is living in it. No one is staying in it, and it's just accumulating rates. So they decide, why not sell it? And get rid of the property. There's a lot of problems that come with RDP properties, and there's a lot of reasons why people buy RDP properties.
Let's go around the pricing model.
Yeah.
Property caucus.
Yes.
Right? How do we go about that? Because I've seen a couple of homes that were going on sale, and when I look at what the house was going for, and this is in the instance where I feel that this house could also easily fit into suburbia in terms of its structure and architecture. I mean, in its architecture, structure, as well as the sort of the size of the home, and the nature of the home in itself.
Yeah.
But when you look at the price difference, it's completely massive, and I feel that this person is being shortchanged.
Yeah.
Do you find that it's difficult to make a profit out of your home when selling?
Can I answer that in a story?
I prefer that. Thank you.
In 2015, when I started, I remember I was working in a construction company, earning 5,500 rand, and I wanted to be in property. So I attended the seminar where basically I went to Brie.
Yeah.
Because there's a guy that told me you have to dress for success, and I was listening to an audio that was talking about dressing for success. I went to Brie, a small street, and I bought myself a tie for 30 rand. And I went to this seminar, went there using taxi. I got to the seminar, I was, humped up, hyped up, and I was ready to be successful. And I remember I was reading books, Robert Kiyosaki. I think at the time I'd read like 50 books of property, real estate, and entrepreneurship. And then I went to the seminar, and they were talking about how you can basically buy and sell property without actually using money. And I thought that's interesting because I don't have money. And I got myself a coach in property.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, I remember I bought my first property for 160 and sold it for 295, without actually using my own money or money that I borrowed from a bank. It was basically a sign that I was buying it, and I sold it to someone else for 295. So to answer your question, how do you price a property? In my opinion, the price of a property or how much a property is worth is not necessarily determined by an evaluator, is not determined by a real estate agent that wants to make commission from the property. In most cases, it's determined by what the seller and the buyer agree on. So the person that I bought from agreed with me that they'll buy it from me or they'll sell it to me for 160.
Yeah.
And the person that agreed that they're gonna buy it from me for 295, that was the price that it was worth, you know. So in my opinion, it's not necessarily worth what the appraisal say or what the agent says or what it's about what willing buyers agree with willing sellers. That's what I think.
So when I enjoy talking about the conversation of spatial planning, especially Kokasi, what what spatial planning is a result of what had been decided during the apartheid government reign, right? And you have sections Kokasi. For example, if you take it to Soweto, you have, I think Kiko Wettville, where the property looks it looks the same. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
You still have homes that were built by the state many years ago.
Okay.
In terms of the selling of those particular houses, is there a standard going price, or do you look at additional amendments that were made to the property?
It depends. I can't say there's a standard, and that's with trading, for example, it's easy to determine what gold is right now. What is the rand compared to dollar right now? It's about 15 rand. If you go to Soweto, rand compared to dollar, it's 15 rand. If you go to Cape Town, and even if you go to Durban or United States, it's still the same. But in terms of property, it's not regulated the same. In terms of property, it's what willing buyers and willing sellers agree on. And that's where a lot of people tend to lose money or make money. There's a lot of people that basically lose a lot. Yeah. You're looking at it from a seller's perspective, and I totally agree with that. And there is a lot of agents or there is a lot of people that can help you with that. You can actually get someone to basically come and evaluate your property. But who is willing to sign the offer to purchase? Who is negotiating with you? And who wants to basically buy that property?
Yeah.
That's what it all comes down to. And it's not just in the location. It's not just in Kagiso. It's not just in suburb areas also. You find that here's a property. It's worth 800,000, 900,000, or 1.2 million rand. But now this person, his property is going to be auctioned in the next 3 months, in the next 2 months. They can't afford to pay for that property. So they'll sell it below market value because they want to get rid of the property. And that's where someone like me might come in and say, okay, I'll take this property for this amount of money, and then I'll flip it, or I'll do a back-to-back deal and basically sell it to someone else and make myself also money through that.
So I have to highlight it. So I mean, you're my age. You're 27.
Yes. 29.
29.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay. So
yes.
We talk about young people taking office, and I personally am one of the people that have recently been convicted to the fact that you're never too young to take office. With the right guidance, with the right holding hand, anybody can, given the right context, is under reasonable capacity, can be able to perform in a particular sharing, right?
Yeah.
Now let's bring it. You are participating in for a young black person
Yes.
in particular. Property development or real estate is not necessarily an easy market for one to participate in, especially if you're saying that you're looking at kokasi basically. And maybe
Yeah.
you might sort of disagree with that. Is that no, actually I have an upper hand because I've decided to focus on kokasi. What
Yeah.
are some of your daily challenges?
Can I answer that as a story
Please.
also? When I started, it was 2015 with my first back-to-back deal.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, I did a couple of deals. I mean, I was working. I basically went to University of Johannesburg and I studied civil engineering.
Yeah.
I got my civil engineering technology diploma at the University of Johannesburg. And then 2016, I was still working in the company, but I was doing more money. I was making more money in my own company than I did as an engineer.
Okay.
And then while working in that company, I decided that, you know what, how about I teach my other friends how to invest in property? And I started teaching a lot of my friends, and they started buying cars. They started buying their own properties also, using the very same strategies I was using, I was implementing. And then I thought to myself, how about I teach everyone, I mean, all over South Africa, the same principles, because it's basically the same thing.
Uh-huh.
Then I started an organization that I call First Class Property SA, that basically teaches startup entrepreneurs in property, people that don't know much about property, to basically flip property or do back-to-back deals.
Yeah.
So 2016, I started First Class Property SA, and we started coaching people in Mpumalanga, Cape Town, Durban. We had seminars all over in South Africa, teaching people to start their real estate companies, manage them, brand them, and make money from it. And that became a success. It still is. We're still coaching people all over South Africa, even today. So, in terms of people that think they are young to start, I absolutely don't agree with the thinking that you are young. You're never too young to start. If you want to be an investor in real estate right now, I started when I was 25.
Mm-hmm.
But there's people that are starting when they're 19. There's people that are starting when they're 20. So, and also at the same time, I'm coaching people that are younger than me. I mean, all over South Africa, I've coached more than 160 people in real estate to basically start their own brands in real estate. And I'm selling properties in and around Kagiso, and I'm coaching people all over South Africa to basically do the same, using the same models that I learned. They implementing the same things that I learned also.
Yeah.
So, and I have older people also, people that are 40 years old, people that are 60 years old, that are saying, if only I was young, I would start a real estate company. And then you find young people that are saying, if I was old, people would take me seriously, and I'd have credibility and I'll start a real estate company. I say, it doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're 15, whether you're 19, whether you're 30, whether you're 60, whether you're 80, you can start your real estate company. So I don't really necessarily care how old the person is. If you have the vision, if you say, I want to start this thing, you can absolutely do it.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that you are focused on Kagiso.
Yes.
Do you have plans of scaling outside of Kagiso?
Yeah. But my main aim has been to improve living conditions in Kagiso. I mean, we've done back-to-back deals around Kagiso. We've done flips outside Kagiso. We've bought and sold outside Kagiso, and I've shown these strategies to people outside Kagiso. But I love my neighborhood so much that this I still see so many issues that I still want to fix in the location. I still want to fix a couple of things in that location. So my main aim is to basically fix the things in Kagiso. Eventually, I might say I'm focusing on the whole Gauteng, I'm focusing on the whole South Africa or whatever. But at the moment, I'm still very focused on in Kagiso. And I teach this to a lot of our students also. I teach this to a lot of people that are starting in real estate, that don't focus on too many areas at the same time. Focus on the area that you know. I know Kagiso. Someone who knows Soweto can start in Soweto, you know. So you can start in the location that you know, and eventually you'll grow. I mean, we now selling in Roodepoort, Azadville, and neighboring communities, Krugersdorp also. Um, which are very close to Kagiso, but it's like slowly growing. So when you start your company in real estate, you're not going to start it as all over South Africa. It's going to be too expensive to market, too expensive to brand. Just start with one deal. And you don't have to have a lot of money to start. You don't even have to have money if you want to do back-to-back deals. You can start with back-to-back deals without money, and you can do you can start with a little amount of money if you have. I mean, I started with 5.5 of a salary, so anyone can actually do this.
I mean, I'm really interested in this because there's been a couple of sort of, I don't want to say myths because it could be true as well. For example, do you find it easy to or do your customers find it easy to get financing from banks when buying Gogasi, especially particular types of houses? Like I said, we mentioned that we've got houses that Gogo built this house 50 years ago and now a child is selling it. Do you find that financing comes in quite easily from banks, as well as when it does? Is it always at 100%? Is it just based on the credit scoring of the individual, or does the fact that Gogasi also play a role?
The banks will base it on two things. They'll base it on your affordability. Affordability meaning that they'll take about 30% of what your salary is and say, okay, this is the maximum that you can actually afford to pay your monthly installments. And then also they'll look at your repayment ability. So with that 30%, can you afford, can you pay every month? So can you afford it? Can you pay this amount of money? So that's basically what the banks look at. In terms of Kasi, banks do finance property Kasi. Banks do finance properties in the suburbs. Obviously, if you afford it, then that's what they're looking at. Okay, can we give this person a loan? Can he pay this loan back? That's what the banks are interested in. So if it's Kokasi, if it's Kokagiso, if it's Kosoweto, banks do finance properties like that.
And I just wonder, you mentioned a couple of books that you read earlier on. You mentioned the massive book, Kawasaki.
Yes.
And who are the people that you look up to? I want to sort of, or that you grab inspiration from, rather.
Yeah. Robert Kiyosaki has been a big influence in my life. I've read maybe 16 of his books. I've read a lot of his books. And he teaches a lot about creating long-term wealth. And I absolutely love that because property is not just about flipping. And there's also rentals where you basically you make money from the appreciation of the property. I remember my dad bought his property a long time ago for 68,000. Long time ago. He finished paying off the property, but now it's worth 800,000. The very same property that he bought for 68,000. You know, so property does appreciate, and we take really we take advantage of that. Yeah.
Excuse me. So you have this 25-year-old or 19-year-old who's like, I'm going to tap into this particular market. I'm going to be selling property. And particularly, I'm going to be selling township properties, right?
Yes.
Do you find property stock fails a sort of a thing as well? Do you work with them? Do you get to work with them?
I tend not to. And the reason why I don't do it is because a lot of these stock files are not regulated.
Okay.
And I will take your money, but they don't have the FSP license.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
they're not supposed to be taking your money for these stock files. There is no attorney, there's no governing body for it. So a lot of people are losing money, putting money into stock files, hoping that after a couple of years, then they're gonna make money. I don't necessarily believe in that. But I do, however, believe in people basically going to seminars
Yeah.
where they basically get other people that are more successful than them to show them how to become successful themselves.
Yeah,
I encourage reading. You asked me about whose books I'm reading. Robert
yes,
Kiyosaki is one of
yes.
them. David Beatty, one of my closest friends, one of my big friends, in property, who is teaching up, who has a book called The Expert Landlord, that's teaching about being a landlord. What are some of the things that you need to do?
Yeah.
What are some, there's a couple of people that I look up to, and it's not just people that have written books. I mean, I have attorneys that I look up to. Van Deventer is one of the attorneys that I'm working with. Absolutely amazing attorneys, developers that I'm working with, that also teach me to become successful in those fields also. Because one thing for sure, you cannot do it alone. You'll never beat the odds alone. You can never be successful on your own. You need a team around you. You need other people that are more successful than you to basically show you how to become successful yourself.
Yeah.
Else, you're going to get stuck.
No, certainly. We're in conversation with Tebogo Molefe, who is the founder and CEO of, or rather, he's the founder and CEO of Kagiso Home Buyers. And what they do is that they go into townships and they help you to buy and sell property within the township. I think for me, it's a beautiful model. I think it's also beautiful that it's done by a young person in particular, a young person from that particular community as well. And paying up houses. I mean, if I'm buying a what used to be a RDP home, I don't intend on buying it. I mean, paying it. Ideally, actually, I would hope not to pay, pay back my home loan over a 20-year period for various reasons, including the interest that is charged on you over a 20-year period. What are some of the ways that you find that people are sort of helping to raise capital to buy homes?
Yeah, there is certainly a couple of ways. One of my favorite ways to basically flip, and then buy. Do a couple of flips.
What flip means?
Yeah. So a flip basically means that you're buying it in the and the only reason why you're buying this property is to sell it. So you can actually buy a property and sell it for profit. You do a couple of those deals, you make money after selling. And also, flipping can be done in a way that you're not actually using your own money to buy.
Okay.
So you basically, with the same first deal that I did, I basically signed an offer to purchase that I'm buying it for 160, and I sold it for 295 2 weeks later without actually taking a bond for the property. So I signed that I was buying this property for 160, but I sold it 2 weeks later to someone else who bought it from me for 295. So that's basically how flipping works. It's back-to-back deals and flips, where you basically buy and sell property
What supports your
money.
pricing model? Do you get actual valuators that come and help evaluate the value of a home?
There is a lot of apps that you can use to check how much a property is worth, or how much people are buying property.
I'm asking this from borrowing from your purchase of 150 versus
160.
I mean, almost 2 weeks later.
Yeah. So I actually did not take transfer of the property. So how it works is, I signed that I was buying it for 160. Okay. What supports me signing for 160 is the need for the other person to sell.
Okay.
And then what supports me, or what enables me to sell it for 295 is me knowing the market, me knowing what actually sells in the area, how much property is selling in the area, and actually getting a willing buyer to basically buy it from me for that price.
Call us on 08619700. We've been rather in conversation with Tebogo Molefe, who's the founder and chief executive of Kagiso Home Buyers. Tebogo, just
Yes.
I'm absolutely intrigued. What have you got to say to someone that wants to start, as well as just give us like a parting words on the property industry, Kokasi in particular?
To everyone that wants to start, this game is relatively easy, that you don't have to learn the tricks of the trade. You might as well get inside and learn. It doesn't take so long for you to learn.
Yeah.
A lot of people think I have to have a lot of money to start, which is not necessarily true. I have to have a lot of experience to start, which is not absolutely true. So I would say if you want to get into real estate, get yourself a coach, get someone that's already successful in real estate, and let them help you, and get other people that are already successful in that industry to help you become successful yourself. It doesn't matter if you want to do real estate Ekasi or in the suburbs. This game is relatively easy, that you just need someone that's already successful at it to show you how to become successful yourself.
I don't know. I'm just. I know. I'd love to have this conversation. Actually, I would have loved to have this conversation in the middle of class somewhere where we could point out in particular homes, because I'm trying to understand the complexities that I already understand, right? But I want us to sort of go on and sort of empower our people to be able to sell and buy their homes without thinking that it has to be in suburbia in order for it to sell or be bought. Good morning, Britepo. How are you? Good, thanks.
Morning. Okay. Well, we'll be having another class on the 9th of November. If you go to firstclassproperty.co.za, we have the details, but it's almost fully booked. So you'd have to book now. Cheers.
Thank you, Victor.